Republican Mitch McConnell is certainly celebrating. He held on to the Senate seat against Democrat Alison Lundergan Grimes. McConnell campaign headquarters is in Louisville tonight.
And 9 on Your Side reporter Evan Millward is standing by live there. Evan.
Oh yeah, and the party got started early here in Louisville. It may call it an early night. There are still some folks hanging around here. Senator Rand Paul, just off to my right, as a matter of fact, finishing up an interview there. That's because these results came in a lot quicker than a lot of folks expected. Even the campaign staff telling me just minutes after this race was called, they had no idea this would happen so soon.
For too long, this administration has tried to tell the American people what's good for them, and then blame somebody else when their policies didn't work out. Tonight, Kentucky rejected that approach.
Mitch McConnell heads back to Washington and says he's been given a mandate.
So, friends, tonight turns a corner, and the future I see is a bright one.
But don't expect much give from the senator once called the guardian of gridlock. McConnell says he's ready to work, and he has been all along.
I hope the president gives me the chance to show it again.
McConnell says it's his mandate to challenge and change. Voters in Kentucky gave it to him.
Friends, this experiment in big government has lasted long enough. It's time to go in a new direction.
Now you could see the enthusiasm there in this room as he was giving that acceptance speech. Senator Rand Paul, who was just here a minute ago, said this was a repudiation of President Obama's policies. Someone else notable on stage tonight, the senator's wife. She introduced him, was standing right beside him the entire time. She says he is going back to Washington to do the right things. Now they're together, waiting to see if he'll be given the power to lead the Senate. We're live in Louisville. Evan Millward, 9 on Your Side.
Evan, thanks so much. Not as much of a party where Alison Lundergan Grimes was than Lexington.
Certainly not. Jay Warren was there as she read her concession speech.
Well, not once did Alison Lundergan Grimes mention her opponent, Senator Mitch McConnell. This was a bitterly fought campaign, and it's quite obvious that some of those feelings are still there, wouldn't go away in just one night. Instead, she thanked her supporters, the thousands of them who are out there knocking on doors. She expressed pride in the organization that they built, and she said that she wants to keep that organization intact to fight for a better and brighter future for Kentucky.
While tonight didn't bring us the result that we had hoped for, this journey, the fight for you, it was worth it. I will continue to fight for the Commonwealth of Kentucky each and every day.
Now, earlier tonight, we spoke to Representative Rocky Adkins. He's from Eastern Kentucky, and he is the floor majority leader in the House here in Kentucky. And he said that there is no doubt that President Obama had a negative impact on Grimes and her campaign. And he says essentially Mitch McConnell ran against President Obama. In Lexington, Jay Warren, 9 on Your Side.
He wouldn't be the only one saying that tonight. Lisa Bernard-Kuhn is WCPO.com's political reporter. Thank you to Jay there. She has been following the McConnell-Grimes race really since the very beginning. Now, Lisa, you ran some numbers from Northern Kentucky voters. How did that shake out in this race?
Right. So part of the analysis that we're providing readers at WCPO.com and certainly the viewers is a deep dive on voter turnout and results right here in Northern Kentucky. We're still pulling in some results from Kenton and Campbell counties. But the numbers that we see tell us that McConnell really pulled away from Grimes here in Northern Kentucky. In Boone County, for example, McConnell claimed 68% of the vote. Grimes only took 1 precinct here in Boone County. In Kenton County, most of the precincts have reported, and it looks like McConnell took 60% of the vote there. And as we look across Kentucky and look at other key areas for McConnell and Grimes, we see that McConnell took Fayette County, so the Lexington area. These were all big misses. Yeah, big misses for Grimes, translated into big critical wins for McConnell.
Actually, as a side note there, a friend of ours who lives in Kentucky said McConnell doesn't even have an office there, a collection office in Northern Kentucky, didn't need one because he was so strong there. So interesting there. Well, where else did Grimes go wrong in her campaign?
So we've chatted with a couple election experts and analysts here who've been looking back at the campaign, and they tell us, you know, the cards were really stacked against Grimes going into this. She had a big battle ahead of her, considering, McConnell's tenure and his campaign expertise, if you will. But she missed some big opportunities. She waited until after the May primary to really start her campaign, when she could have taken him on ahead of time and forced him into a campaign against both her and Matt Bevin, who he went up against in the May primary. During her stump speeches, she really stuck to her script, and I think voters, Stephen Voss at University of Kentucky tells us, voters were really looking for something a little more unpredictable, something unexpected.
What about the not saying, when she couldn't respond to, did you vote for President Obama? That seemed like a nail in her coffin.
And I asked Voss specifically about that, and he said if you looked at polls right after, that issue came up, they were still very neck and neck. It was these longer term plays that she really missed out on.
I was reading the Courier Journal said $80 million spent, not just by the candidates, but spent on this particular Senate race. That's such an enormous amount of money.
Yeah, McConnell, he's an expert again here. He hasn't lost a bid in his Senate, campaigns. This will be his 6th term in Senate. But he admitted as much in his victory speech that this was a tough battle for him, even given all the negative campaign ads. He said, that she won his respect in this race, and he said that folks should give her a lot of credit for this.
And he very well could end up the Senate Majority Leader after tonight. Lisa, thanks so much for your expertise on this matter. Carol?
All right, thank you, Tanya.